Hi guys, today we are going to be playing with a new indie makeup brand, and I am so excited because that is one of my favorite things to do on my channel, is to discover new gems that not a lot of people have heard about. So this is a brand that contacted me on Instagram and they were like, hey, can we send you some of our products? And of course, me being me, I looked on their page, which I kind of was familiar with already, and I was like, yes. Please do send me some of your products because they look amazing. So we're going to be trying out the Sweet Strategy palette as well as their blush palette. This brand is called Reza Beauty. I don't know if any of you have heard of them. They are quite small, and I don't know if they've come out with other things before these or if these are like some of their first launches. I'm not really exactly sure about how many things they've come out with before, but this palette is so cool. I've shown this in a... forget the video that I showed this in, but a lot of you were interested in seeing me use this. So this is a palette that kind of comes apart like this, and it has two separate pieces. I think the idea behind that is really, really cool. There is a mirror on the back as well, and the color story of this is so fun, and some of these shimmers look absolutely amazing. I will say from swatching the shimmers, they feel extremely similar to the It's Belle Cosmetics Break the Rules palette. Like a lot of these shades, or at least two of them, feel almost exactly the same. So I'm curious to maybe do some comparisons at the end, especially with this shade right here and this one. Maybe they're not exactly the same, but the formula look very similar. And then the pinks here look pretty much exactly the same. The reds look very similar. So yeah, I'm curious to see how this is going to perform. I like the idea behind this. I think, like I said, the color story is really fun. And I'm curious to see how the formula is going to be, because I have swatched it and you're seeing the swatches obviously, and I didn't have room to pull up my sleeve because my hoodie is a little bit too tight on the arms, so you're getting back of the hand swatches. But I will say that the mattes didn't swatch as well as maybe I was hoping, but also swatches don't tell the whole story because obviously an eyeshadow primer is going to make a big difference. But the shimmers look really nice and I'm super excited. I'm also just so excited about this blush palette. I have also featured this before, but here's what it looks like. It is absolutely stunning. I think that the colors in here are so nice. It is a very pigmented blush palette. So if you don't like a pigmented blush, you're not going to like this. But for me, I don't mind that. So I'm excited to be trying this out. So far, I would say my favorite shade in here is the sort of shimmery pink blush. This one is absolutely beautiful. So I think I want to use the orange one today. What did I use? I think I used a pink one yesterday. You didn't see that, but I used it off camera and it was quite pigmented. It took me a little bit of time to get it to be nice and blended, but it did blend nicely. It reminds me a lot of the Menagerie Arthurine palette. So if you have that one and you like the pigmentation on that one, you would probably like this one as well because they're like very similar in a lot of ways. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and start with blush because why not? So I'm gonna take the shade here called Luciana, and I'm gonna use that as my blush. And we're just gonna kind of see what happens. It picks up very nicely and I'm expecting this to be quite pigmented. So I didn't want to go in with too much, but that is a really pretty color. I'm just going to tap in a little bit more, just be kind of careful with this, but it definitely has a bit of a sheen, but it's not like super shimmery, which I like because I don't like something that's super shimmery as a blush, but I think the color of that looks really nice, and it has just the right amount of sheen to not be too much, but still looks kind of glowy. I think that looks beautiful. I really like the color of this as well, and it's super easy to work with. It blends out very nicely. The shimmery ones are definitely easier to work with, just a heads up, because I struggle a little bit to blend out the matte ones, but not so much that I don't see myself reaching for this palette again, because so far I've been really enjoying it. I would say my only drawback to this is that the first time I used it, I kind of tried to like flip it around and it cracked a little bit like in the middle here, but that obviously was my own fault because who needs to like bend their palettes all the way back? Clearly I do, but just something to keep in mind, maybe don't do that. They also sent me some lashes, which I don't think I'm going to be wearing today. Some of these are like quite intense and just not really my style. I think they're really cool, but I think that they would just overwhelm my eyes like a lot. Like these are so cool as well. I love the style of these. But again, purple lashes, I don't know if I can pull that off. These as well look really nice. If these are styles that you maybe are interested in, you can check out their website. I will, of course, link it down below. These are probably the ones that I feel like would be maybe suitable for me, but I also feel like they're probably a little too long. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe today is not the day, but I will definitely keep them in my, my drawer in case I do feel like using them at some point. And they also sent me some sponges, which are so cute. I am not a sponge person. I know I say that all the time, but I just don't really like using sponges. It's just not really my thing, and I'm lazy and I don't feel like going to wet them, so I'm not gonna be trying those. I'm gonna give those away to someone, but just wanted to show them because they are really, really cute. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start by priming my eyes if I can find my eyeshadow primer. And it is, of course, hiding under my mess as per usual, but that is the story of my life. I'm just going to use my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base like I always do. And I am so close to being out of this, and I really need to buy a new one before I'm completely out, because otherwise I'm going to have to start using an eyeshadow primer that I don't like. And I don't like doing that, especially when reviewing palettes, because I want to make sure that I have something that I know is reliable and that I know how it works with eyeshadow formulas that I love, because that just gives it such a better way for me to compare. I do have a little bit of staining on my eyes, so don't worry about that. We're gonna obviously cover it up with some eyeshadows. Not sure what I want to do today, but I think that whatever I end up doing is gonna end up looking really cool just because this color story is so cool. So let's see, what do I feel like doing? I am definitely drawn to these two, but I don't know if that's kind of what I'm going for today. I definitely want to use the black because listen, me and black, how can I not, right? I'm also tempted to just do like brown and black in my crease and then do like this as a pop in the inner corner with this one on the lid. That would also be kind of fun. Or maybe what I'll do is I'll use these two in my crease. Still kind of want to pull in the green, but I'm not completely sure. I think I'm going to start with this one as my crease shade. This one is the shade called Poison. Gonna take that on my Blend Bunny B4 brush, which is, I think, my favorite of the set that I bought from them. It's just like a really, really nice size brush, and I feel like I can use it to both put down color as well as blend color. But this is going on very nice and pigmented. It seems very nice and smooth. I definitely feel like it has more, how do I say this, more richness to it than I was expecting from swatching it. It also seems a little bit lighter on the eyes than it does in the pan, but it's also super nice and opaque. Like that looks actually a lot better than I was expecting, and I don't really know why. But I like that a lot. I'm gonna take this under my eye as well, just because I do want this to be the same on the top and the bottom. Just gonna kind of smoke this out, not doing anything fancy. Just gonna make sure I have a blend in the outer corner here as well. I might wing this out a little bit because I like the way that that looks on my eye shape. Okay, one color down. So far, so good. I'm really liking this. I'm next gonna take the black because how can I not? So this is the shade called Darkness, which again is just a matte black. And I'm just gonna start that in the outer corner of my eye here. We're gonna see how pigmented this is. It doesn't seem like super pigmented, but it also feels like a black that you can easily build up. This one also, the texture, I don't know if texture is the right word, but the consistency of these shadows, it's weird because when you kind of swatch them, they swatched out a little bit on the dry side, but on the eyes, they perform almost like a cream in a way. I don't know. I almost feel like the formula so far seems a bit similar to Blend Bunny in the way that they perform, but not in the way that they feel. Not sure if that really makes sense, but if you tried Blend Bunny, you know what I mean. Like, they're not the most pigmented right away, but they build so nicely, and I feel like these seem like they perform the exact same way, and they're also, like, they're very rich. Like, they're much richer than I was expecting because they swatch kind of sheerly. So I'm trying to figure out, like, how I feel about this, but so far I'm liking these a lot more than I thought I would because that looks really, really nice. And I love how just nice and opaque that black looks. That looks beautiful. I'm gonna take this on my lid a little bit as well because I do want to layer one of those shimmers over the top, and I think that is just gonna look so cool when I have a black base underneath. I'm trying not to make this go too out of hand, but with me in black, sometimes it definitely gets out of hand, but I think this is looking exactly the way that I want it to look. I don't think I want to take it underneath my eye. I think I just want to keep it like I have right now. I think this looks very nice. These shades also do not really have any kick up in the pan. They're almost, I wouldn't say hard pressed, but that's probably why they didn't swatch that well, because they're not super loose in the pan, so you don't get that much onto your finger when you do swatch them. but they pick up a lot better on a brush than they do, obviously, with a finger. See, this is why I love trying new brands, because you go into it not knowing what to expect at all, and sometimes you end up being pleasantly surprised, and other times it's like exactly what you expected. And right now I feel like this is definitely better than what I originally thought it was going to be, just from touching this and like looking at the shadows. So I think this looks exactly the way that I want it to look. Next up, am I gonna use, how many shimmers am I gonna use? That is always the question, isn't it? I'm so tempted to use this one because I know I'm going to love it, but then I'm like, should I use it? Because I know I'm gonna love it. This pink is also so pretty. Do I just want to do like a really pink eye today? The only shade that I don't feel like I'm going to love in this palette is probably the red, because it's extremely dry and it doesn't really feel like a shimmer. It feels kind of gritty to the touch. It feels like the shade that was in the former Alien Cosmetics Serendipity palette. They had a shade exactly like this, and I said I didn't like it at all. Like, I don't know, it just feels very dry and chunky and not shimmery at all, and also kind of like a dry, crumbly satin. Like, I don't mean to bash on the shade, but I just know it's not going to be my favorite, so I don't want to use it. But all of these other shades are really, really nice. So I think maybe I'll use these two. Maybe I'll just go with like my favorite shades in this palette, because why not, right? So since this is more of like a toppery shade in a way, more of a sheer shade, I'm gonna use that in the front portion of my lid, and I'm gonna use this on the middle and blend it outwards. I am of course going to use some of my NYX glitter primer first, because I just want to make sure that these shadows have a tacky base before I put them down, because I know they're just gonna look so much better on top of something that's a little bit sticky. I'm not using a lot, I'm just tapping a little bit of this just all over my lid while I want my shimmers to go. And I'm gonna take the sticky side of my brush into the shade. This is a shade called Kiss. It's the pink one. That is beautiful. I'm gonna start that in the middle of my lid and blend it outwards. That is super nice and shiny. Very, very pretty. It's taking a couple of dips into the pan here just to get a nice and smooth application. This would probably work very well with a finger, but I am just not a finger person, as I'm sure you guys know by now, but that looks beautiful. I really like that. And then for the front portion of my lid, I'm gonna take the shade called Castle, which is this one, and I'm just so excited because I know I'm gonna love it. Just gonna put that on the rest of my, on my lid. That is beautiful, and that looks exactly like I expected it to. Oh, I love these shades so much. I just cannot get enough of this kind of formula. Like, I feel like this is one of those things that, like, if you know, you know. Like, if you've tried this kind of formula and you use it with a glitter primer, you know exactly what I'm talking. It's so freaking beautiful. This is what makes me love eyeshadow so much. Like, you get to look at this for the rest of the day and just smile every time you look in the mirror, because it looks so good. Did I say I was going to use that green shade? I think I did, but it got a little bit out of hand, because I cannot stop looking at this. That looks so good. These two shades are just blending into each other so nicely. I love this. Okay, do I want to do anything else? Anything else like underneath my eye? Is there anything that's going to work for that? Not really sure if these other colors are really gonna go. Like, I wish I'd used more shades. Let me know if you want to see me use this palette in another video. Let me know if you want a 3-look video with this. I can also do like a shorts with this and do another look. I did do a short the other day, and it was kind of fun to just like film a quick look, and it was very easy to edit. So maybe I can do that. Let me know if you want to see more with this, because I definitely want to play more with this, but I just don't know if I'm gonna do it on camera or not. Let's see. I feel like there's not really anything else I can do with this except for an inner corner highlight. So I think that's just what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to take that shade that's called Fortune, which is just a kind of white one. I'm not going to spray this or anything. I'm just going to put a little bit of that like right in the inner corner just to make this nice and bright. Just going to wrap it a little bit underneath my eye as well. But I do think I want to take a little bit more of that lid shade underneath my eye, because I just think that that's going to really make everything pop. So because I don't have any glitter primer under my eye, I'm just gonna spray my brush a little bit. This blue shade is a bit crumbly, so it's not the easiest to pick up on a dry brush. Just something to keep in mind if you don't use a glitter primer. It might be a little bit hard to use, but if you do, you're gonna absolutely love it. I just wanna have a little bit of that like just to add some sparkle underneath my eye because I just think that that looks so good. Yeah, just like a little bit. I think that looks beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off with my eyes. I think this is all I'm going to do, and I'll come back and I will show you my look. Okay, so this is basically it. I didn't do anything crazy. I did some purple in my waterline. This is a pastel. It's from NYX. It's one of the faux whites in the shade Lavender Blush. I just wanted something very light, and I think that this did the job. I did some mascara, and I'm already wearing a lip product, which doesn't really go with this look, but I also don't really feel like taking it off right now. This is from Wasnt. It's one of their lip creams. This is in the shade Water Lily. I love these. They're so nice. And yeah, that's basically it. So like, my thoughts on this? I like this so much more than I thought I would, and I'm so pleasantly surprised, and I don't even know what else to say. Like, this is great so far. I'm excited to play more with this, and I think that I'm gonna have a great time doing so. I do want to just compare two of the shades from the Break the Rules palette because I can't help myself. So I'm gonna compare this shade right here to the one that I have on my lid. I don't think they're gonna be exactly the same, but the formula is definitely going to be exactly the same. So this is the one from the Break the Rules palette. Kind of a sheer bluish shade with a bit of a purple shift, and I'm gonna take the shade from the Risa palette and I'm just gonna swatch that right next to it. I don't think they're gonna be the same. Yeah, they're not the same, but formula-wise they're quite similar, but the shifts are different. But I just love these kind of colors. I think they're just so nice. Let's do the pinks as well. So I'm gonna take the pink from the Break the Rules palette. Just gonna swatch that on the back of my hand here. Gonna build it up a little bit. These seem like they are exactly the same formula. This is really just a metallic pink with a bit of a orange shift, I would say. And then I'm gonna swatch the one from the Risa palette. This one is a little bit creamier. It doesn't look like it has as much of a shift. It definitely does have a little bit of a peachy shift, but is not quite as orange. But I mean, they are very, very similar. I don't think on the eyes you would really be able to tell the difference, but I wouldn't say that they are exact dupes, maybe like 90% dupes, but not 100. And these two are definitely not dupes. Like formula-wise, they are dupes, but color-wise, they're definitely different. This one I would say is more blue, and the other one is a little bit more purple. But I love this look. Look how beautiful that is. I just cannot. I'm gonna be looking at this all day. I love it. I think it's so nice. Thank you, Risa, for sending me these products. I would highly recommend you check them out because this is nice, okay? That's gonna be it for today. I'm just so pleasantly surprised. I love that. That is like my favorite part about doing these kind of videos and trying new products is finding new gems that I probably wouldn't have bought myself and then ending up absolutely loving them. So yeah, thanks for watching as always. If you want to see some other first impression videos, I do have a playlist right here. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in my next one. Bye.